when were you born?
I was born October 11, 1938, in the little village of Prilišće, Croatia.
What are the names of all of your family members, like your mom, your dad, your whoever else?
Okay, my mom and dad were Catherine and Joseph Simonovic. My dad was in United States. I was 2 months old when he left our village and went to United States to work in the U.S. steel mills in Pittsburgh area. I have two brothers, Nick and Bill, and I have one sister, Barbara, and we're all here in the United States.
And how old were all of them when you were born?
My sister was born in 1933, and my brother Bill was born in 1934, my brother Nick in 1935, and I was born in 1938.
Well, how, did anyone have jobs, or like where were they working?
When my dad came here to the United States, his dad was living here already, and he started working at in the steel company here in Pittsburgh area.
What was life like there? Like, what did you do for fun, or like, what did was your family like rich or poor, or like?
Well, in our village, actually, there were only 21 houses in the whole village, and we were the richest of them all. And my grandmother was called the governess because she was very confident in herself, very persistent, very aggressive. So everybody followed her lead, whether it be a political matter or a matter of economics or whatever in the village. She was always consulted about that.
Yeah. So, did you do anything for fun? Hang out with your neighbors?
Yes, we had lots of
family?
friends. You know, every house had 2 or 3 children or more, and we would always get together and play different games and like
play cards?
like cards. Yes, we played lots of cards, especially in the evenings when there was nothing to do. You know, and the nights were long, so we would get together in somebody's house and we would play cards and play different games, especially during the Halloween period or time before Lent. We would always get dressed up like in the Halloween costumes, but they were all homemade, you know, my brother's clothes or somebody else's, you know, and we would go from house to house, and all the ladies who were there also getting together in the evening to either knit or crochet or, you know, do different crafts. They would have fun with us, and they would try to guess who we were. Of course, they knew who we were. So that was fun. But then we also had responsibilities, like in the mornings. We had to get up early before school to take the cows in the pasture, and then come home and get washed and cleaned, and then go to school at 8 o'clock.
Oh, all that in the morning?
Yeah, all that in the morning.
So, then once you moved here, where exactly did you move? Like, whenever you first moved here?
After the Second World War, we all grew up during the Second World War. And after the Second World War, my oldest brother, and my sister and I, we went to the city to school, and my younger brother stayed home to run the farm with my grandmother and my mother, because my grandfather and my dad were here in the United States, so, you know, they needed somebody, one of us anyway. And my brother Nick, he was mostly interested in farming and stuff, so he stayed home and ran the farm.
So, can you talk about your experience during World War II?
Well, you know, I was really young during World War II, and some things I remember, but, you know, a lot of things I know from being told from my parents and other people in the village. And I remember one incident when it was actually the Easter time, and at that time in Europe, that's a very, before Easter or All Souls Day, everybody goes to the cemetery, and we were attacked on that day. And the planes came. I'm assuming that they were German planes or one of the other factions, you know, of the army fighting at that time in the war. And I was home by myself, and I was so scared that the planes were flying and shooting at the houses, and the house across the street, you know, caught fire. And I ran into the basement and hid there till my mother and my grandmother came home. They were, as I said, that holy day, All Souls Day is very important, and they were making wreaths to take them to the cemetery. And as I said, I was home by myself, and then I hid in the basement where we had potatoes and vegetables and that, and waited till they came home.
All right, so now.
And one of the bombs actually fell behind our house.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But nothing happened.
No. Well, the house kind of, one of the walls cracked. The house didn't fall.
Oh, okay. So now back to, so moving here, you lived where as soon as you moved here?
We came directly to Pittsburgh. My dad and my grandfather worked, as I said, in the steel mills, and once they closed, both of them had a job at Heinz factory down on North Side. And so my dad bought a home on Troy Hill before we came. And when we came here, we just directly moved to Troy Hill in the house that my dad bought for us.
I like that one. And how old was that? How old
I
were
was
you?
12 years old when I came here.
And did you like want to move here, or were you like kind of like forced to move here?
Well, no, we were not forced to move here, but because my dad was here and my mother was over in Europe, and we were there, he wanted to bring us to live over here, you know, because he wasn't going to go home, back home in Croatia and work on a farm, and, you know, it's much better life and living here, and much better opportunity for all of us, you know, to go to school and to become somebody.
Where'd you go to school? Like as soon as you moved
Oh,
here?
okay. When we first moved here, we moved on Troy Hill, and our church was St. Nicholas Church on the north side, on East Ohio Street. I'm sure you all heard that recently it was demolished, and there was a big controversy about it with the Diocese of Pittsburgh and so on. But anyway, the church is not there anymore, but that's where we came, and they had school also. And so we went to school I went to school there for 2 years, 7th and 8th grade. And in those 2 years, I also was learning English, because none of us spoke English. But there was a girl there in the class. She was ahead of us in the class, and she knew both languages, she knew Croatian and English. And so there was part of the time that, you know, was taken out for us to go with her so she could teach us English language.
So like, whenever you went, and you said you spoke Croatian, like were there any other people who spoke like their own language? Like if there was like people from Italy or like France, like were there any people who like spoke fluent, like whatever, wherever they came from?
Actually, on North Side, in that little community, that was all Croatian people that lived there. And they name it Mala Jaska, which is a little town in Croatia. And most of the people came from that area, so they named it Little Jaska.
Oh.
And that's where they all settled, down on North Side. So everybody spoke Croatian, and then everybody learned English while they were here.
So after you went to St. Nicholas,
then we went to Holy Ghost. I went to Holy Ghost High School, and I finished high school in Holy Ghost, and then from there I went to Duquesne University Night School. And when I graduated from high school, I got a job with the Yugoslav consulate, which was located downtown on Grand Street, and because my mother went to the consulate to find out about the property that we had in Croatia. And the gentleman, the consul, he asked me, did I, graduate from high school? I said, yeah, I have a couple months to go and I'll be graduating. He said, how would you like to have a job? Because, I spoke both languages fluently. And that's how I got a job there and worked downtown. And at nighttime, I went to Duquesne University and got my degree in sociology major and psychology minor.
So that was your first job then, once you moved here?
That was no, before that I worked in 5 and 10 like all the other, girls did, and had different jobs, little jobs like I said, working in the 5 and 10 or working in ice cream store or something, but I worked in McCrory's 5 and 10 on North Side on East Ohio Street.
When did you meet Pappy?
Well, I actually met Pappy at Duquesne University in French class.
French?
Yeah.
I
and
take
neither of us
pride.
know French.
Still not?
Yeah, my friend and I, took same class, French class, and Pappy and his friend were in the same class.
Do you remember their names?
Anna Marie Kokokovic was my friend.
Croatian.
No, she was Slovak, I think.
Oh.
And dad's friend, I don't remember his name. I forgot his name.
That's okay.
Yeah.
He's real.
So that's how we got together.
So then you dated and
Then we dated for 2 years. Pappy and I dated for 2 years.
And then
Then he asked
how old
me
were you
to
when you got
marry
married?
him. I was 24.
You've been married. Then what year was?
1964. So we're married like 53, 54 years.
Okay.
And your dad
So then
is
when did
younger.
you have Aunt Kathy?
67 and 67, and your dad was born in 68. And then we lived in Aspinwall till we had your Aunt Kathy, and then we moved to Squirrel Hill. And then we had your dad there. And then from there we went here and bought the house at in North Hills on Hemlock Drive in Allison Park. Then when your dad and then Kathy were born, they were born, one in Squirrel Hill and one in Aspinwall, and then we moved here when we bought the house. And then this is where we stayed. And we belong to St. Mary's of the Assumption on Middle Road. That's where we've been since we moved to Allison Park. Well, I think I feel comfortable with my life. I'm very proud of my 8 grandchildren. They're all beautiful and smart, and I love them all. And I had 2 beautiful children, and what more can I ask? And,
So, any advice you'd like to give my fellow peers or teacher, Mr. Frank?
well, I would just say study hard, work hard, follow the rules and laws and obey, God's law, and love everybody, and you can't go wrong.
There you go.
Be kind and gentle with everybody.
Wonderful words of advice from Holly. Thank you for being with me today. And so, about Pappy. So, what is he? German?
Pappy is German, and some French. Or
Really? I'm
Yeah.
French?
a little French.
Yes!